Welcome to the EE Weekend Stakes Preview Show. This week, we're breaking down the top stakes races to uncover the best betting opportunities. We're going to highlight vulnerable favorites, key horses, and potential value plays to give you an edge this weekend. Joining me as usual, my partner, Justin Sampson. Justin, these notes, man, I have been just killer. Like, people are loving them. You and me, Jake over at Turfway Park. Did you see in the opener what Jake did? He gave. Did you see that?
I saw he's done that like three straight weeks or something.
He's sick. He is a sick man. And, combination of, I think the system's been doing pretty good over at Turfway Park. Bar none, I will say this. I've been handicapping now for, I want to say, for sure, 41 years. Now, I can tell you, Justin, I have never seen a track more difficult than Turfway Park. It's just not. Like, things don't run to form. That's where Jake comes into play. And so if you're not getting, I don't know if you've seen it, we'll show you tonight. We'll show you where you can find the notes. Now, in about a month from now, it might take a little bit longer because we've updated mobile. By the way, Justin, did you know that mobile now has our notes, our horse analysis?
Oh, it does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing. Earlier I was jumping around today and I was trying to get on my phone to look at when the fairgrounds races and stuff. That's cool. I'm glad people have been asking for that. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Of course, we've got the new format and stuff. We've yet to show that to the public of what's coming. And it's pretty incredible where you don't have to click on tabs to see if there's notes or not. We've added, I want to say, by the way, we added 3 more today. That's a total of 25 new tools and products that we've added to the site that's going to be more user-friendly. I've been saying all along, bigger than the ticket generator, bigger than the race simulator. This new release that we're hopefully going to be in about a month from now is the biggest release we've ever had. And mobile is just going to continue to get better and better. So super excited about that. But you want to check out the notes. I gave out notes today over at Gulfstream Park if you want to check those out. And Justin, of course, gave out notes over at Fairgrounds. And Oldie's got notes for Oaklawn Park tomorrow. I'm assuming you put your notes for Fairgrounds tomorrow already?
No, they're coming. I think keeping up with them running 9 races on a Thursday, and then they have 12 races on a Saturday. We're going to talk about like 8 of them tonight. I'll be handicapping after this though. Jareth Loveberry had a great day there, Scotty. I mean, Jose Ortiz been dominating with 27, but Loveberry, I think, ended up with 3 wins. It was chalky there early, but the system had it. It made it look easy, but that's the way it happens sometimes, to be honest.
Hi, Dave. How are you? Chris, what's going on? We're going to start doing videos. I might do a video tomorrow morning. So essentially, I've been doing Gulfstream Park, and I did Tampa Bay yesterday. I'll do Tampa Bay like maybe on Wednesdays when Gulfstream's not running. Of course, you've got the new the championship meet. But I do want to show you where you can find the notes. Let's.
You should go to Turfway and show Jake's note in the first race, right? Wasn't it the first?
Yeah, I'm
race?
going to, but I wanted to show you a couple of things so people that don't know where to find it, they can find it. So today, let's see if I can find the race. Here you go. Here's an example. So we had the EquinEdge top pick and the top win percentage at 33%, top EquinEdge pick. But I was handicapping this race, Justin, and I'm like, man, there's something about this 5-horse, the EquinEdge long shot. 5-1 on the morning line. It had a fair win percentage. And so this is my note. I put in a race where nearly every horse demands the lead, which is what I had seen. And I know you need speed on 5 furlongs in the synthetic, but something had to give when every horse needed the lead in order to win almost. So I'm thinking, right? And I'm thinking Black Fury stands out as the lone tactical speed horse. Now, the 3-horse Asher's Edge ended up rating. His last effort breaking from the outside post. Now, this is something that you just don't get, and a lot of people don't have time. I don't have time normally, but now that I'm putting in the notes, I'm seeing things.
Yeah.
And you and I are pretty much experts at Gulfstream Park ever since I moved here 4.5 years ago. And I know that one turn on the dirt at Gulfstream Park, you can't have an outside post. It's death unless you are the fastest horse in the race. So I look and I see this 5-horse. I'm like, this horse had the outside post in a 1-turn race. I think it was 7 furlongs on the dirt over at Gulfstream Park. And I thought that performance is just a subtle thing that anybody could miss. And I'm like, Now, that might get overlooked. And I'm like, despite the disadvantage in post, he was only 2.5 lengths back at the stretch against much, much better than was today. Like dropping back, returning to synthetic. Where does he need? He doesn't need to battle up front. This horse went 7-8 wide, Justin. He wasn't beating the 3. And
what the exacta pay? They must have paid like 25 to 1, 20 to 1,
21 to 1. It's huge.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
And now I'm just gonna brag about the system real quickly here, and I'm just gonna show you what Gulfstream did today. For those of you that don't know, or you're new, or you're thinking about signing up, look, these are just the picks. We don't want to get caught up in just that. This is how good this one algorithm is. Just the picks. You can look at the win percentages, but you've got the EE morning line, you've got the GSR, which is our breeding metric, you've got pace, you've got the class number, which is our SOR, you've got the race simulator if you've never seen that. But I really do want to just show you real quickly at Gulfstream Park how amazing the picks were. Look at this. The EquinEdge long shot wins and pays $6. That horse was 9-2 on the morning line. It was also 18%. That was a first-time starter. In race number 2, look at this. 6-3-1. It came at 3-6-1. It came in 6-3-1. Race number 3, it came in 6-7-9. We had it 7-6-9. I mean, this is sick. I haven't done this my entire life. Look at this one. 6-1-4, we had it. It came in 1-6-3-4. Short field. Look at this. 9-4-10. We had it 9-10-3. Now, I'm going to show you the notes in this race because this is going to be really helpful for those of you. Look at this. So the 9 horse was 29%. Top pace number. It had the lead. Top EquinEdge pick. Now watch. Look at this 4 horse. I don't know if you saw this note, Justin. I noticed this horse. I'm like, this 3-year-old filly has the look of a sleeper. 2 starts back, she ran a strong race against better company, going 8.5 on the turf. And her, I'll make it brief. And her tactical style fits this race well. Meaning she's on the inside. A lot of the contenders were on the outside. She's going to save her on the inside. She had already proven she can face horses like this. She was 15 to 1 in the odds makers morning line, 6 to 1 in our morning line, and she ended up she was 7 to 1, so she went down. I mean, she offers real value and feels like a legitimate contender. And I said, sometimes best players are the ones hiding in plain sight. And so you can get that between all the metrics, not just one of them. And then
the exacta pay there? Must have been another like 20 to 25 to 1, 23 to 1.
Bucks. And the 10 was the EquinEdge second pick.
Yeah.
And I had a strong note on the 10 horse as well. But you know what I'm even most proud of?
That's a good try.
Amazing try. Let's see what that was. But what I'm most pumped about, that try was the 84.40 for 50 cents, was this note here. Because we're not only putting positive notes. This horse I knew was going to be one of the favorites. I put this 5-year-old mare steps up in her second race for Bobby DeBona after a solid second place effort last time out and returning from a long layoff. That's all great. But while this horse, that race was encouraging, her win percentage dropped. I'm like, okay. And because sometimes you cannot see the running lines and call times and see really what's going on in a race. They could really be backing up. I said, this horse also had burned a lot of money until it dropped to a 44 SOR group. And I said, add some, and it was working terrible in the mornings. And I put that I was taking a negative stance on her, and she did not run a lick. And I'm, those are the types of notes that you're going to get. You're giving those notes. Oldie's doing those notes. David Harrison's doing those notes, and Jake's doing those notes over at Turfway Park. So, and then it continues on with the hotness of the site. The one horse won. The win percentages were wide open. But that horse had a 20%. It went off at 7 to 1. Then I've got a great note in that too. Look at this 4-2. The EquinEdge second pick to the EquinEdge long shot. Look at this exacta, Justin. 16.90 for a buck. You would have banked today playing this. How about this one? 3-5, like we looked at earlier. And in last race, look at that. Top 2 EquinEdge picks, first and second. Just sick.
Spot on. That's like Chris said, Woodbine. And Dave Duncan, Fairgrounds has been good too. I agree. Yeah. It always helps to handicap when the system's hot, Scotty.
So amazing. It's just, I think I just get pumped. I've been doing this a long time, and the algorithms are so amazing that the EquinEdge community knows, but it's really quite incredible. what this thing is doing. You could go to all the tracks and see some amazing stuff that's going on. But we had an exacto, Steve, over at with Jake at Turfway. All right, Justin, you ready to do this thing? Let's go. We've got pretty much most of the races are on Saturday, correct?
All of them.
All of them? Okay. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, Fairgrounds race 4. 2-year-old, the Sugar Bowl. So it's Tough Catch or it's Count the Brave. I landed on Count the Brave. You have an E morning line angle, Scotty. But Jose rides, he is just absolutely lights out. And he's got 27 wins. Jared Ludbury had at least 3 today. I think that's where he ended up to go to 17. I'm not sure where Jose is. But it's between those two, and Luis Saez is in town to ride at Fairgrounds this weekend. So he's the one jock who's shipping in. So you'll see him have a lot of live mounts. But, I thought that mainly, Correas puts Jose up. They hit really good. He commonly uses him, and won a 52 and then had experience in a 66. That was in a 7, as a starter allowance. I think, Grace is fine. The horse looks fit, Scotty, when I look at the works. He's had him over at Keeneland on the synthetic track, so I didn't really know what to do with that, but it seemed a little bit sneaky, and then that's just, it was between those two, in my opinion, but I landed on the 6. Jose going to get the outside post. Louis going to be inside. Louis going to have, I think Jose is going to get to decide what to do, so it's going to be a good race.
Yeah, it looks good. Even money on the morning line. Going to sit a nice trip. The 4 horse though is 7-5 on the EE morning line and 38%. And this horse might secure the lead. And
I just worried about the trips on the 4, Scotty. Had trouble, like really in a lot of these starts. Has been on the rail in the last 2, but steady bump break, bumped at the start, like. He always is finding trouble, it seems, so that was probably where I tipped, but man, it really did look like a 2-horse race. And, it's going to, I feel like it'll be a good one. I mean, it's the first stakes of the day there. You have Saez there. You have Jose who's leading. They're going to put on a good battle, I think.
Yeah, they are. I mean, look, there's a lot of speed in the race. The 1's going to be near the lead. The 2 is going to be near the lead, and, you've got a first-time starter here that shows closing right now, and for Conejo, only 3% with first-time starters. But these works are pretty good. 67 to 142. You can see all the way back here this gate drill, 5 of 40, 3 of 20. It's the EquinEdge long shot too. So I would probably take a look at this 3 horse. As you can tell, I'm handicapping for the first time. I haven't had time with all the notes I've been putting in everything. Hey, what's up, John? Well, I would say all the tracks we're covering. Gulfstream Park is one. I've been doing a little bit of writing on Tampa, but the information's really solid and it's really helpful. Of course, Fairgrounds, Oldie's doing Oaklawn Park. David's doing the Naira circuit. So right now, Aqueduct. And then, of course, I mean, you're going to go for a wild ride, but if you want to mess with Turfway Park, Jake is there, and just play some of the horses. They're long shots that he says he wants to play. So the full card's already out. Oh wow, thanks Dan for that. Hi Cindy. There's a lot of really good stuff to play right now. Like depending if you want to gamble or not, you're going to lose probably 9 out of 10 races, but when you do hit, you're going to hit really big over at Turfway Park, Justin.
Yeah, he's had 10 to 1, 25 to 1. I feel like he might have had a 50 to 1 as well. He's been on finding the bombs for sure.
Yeah. So another horse here that I don't think you can leave out is the 5. And I'll just say because look, I mean, this horse, I like this race because at Delta Downs, it's the oval's so tight. And this horse is a couple of lengths back at the beginning. And jumped up 18 points in SOR and ran respectable. And you've got to figure that with this horse that the longer stretch, you don't have those tight turns. I think that the 5 horse might run a good race too. So I don't know. I think that's a kind of a tough race. What's going on, Mike Saletta? Mike was in the coaching class today. We had a good coaching class today, actually.
There's been a lot of new people. So anybody listening,
has.
definitely that's another great spot to use the tool and talk about it with other horse players. There's always good discussion in there, Scotty.
The community, the EquinEdge community is just growing right now. Do you know we've had just in the last 2 weeks? I was talking to Brad tonight. We have had 86 new customers in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And we don't do any marketing. I mean, we're on Twitter a bit. You know, all of us are on Twitter, but we're not even doing any marketing. So it's really neat to see what's going on with EquinEdge right now. And I've been saying all along, you know, I've been pumping this up to whoever will listen, but all the new tools that are coming out, you saw it. What do you think?
It's good. It's so slick. It makes it easier. There's less clicks, which I feel like is important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the interface is good. You know, like it makes it easy. It's easy on the eyes. It's laid out a little bit different, but I think that's what's important because it makes it easy to handicap, not have to learn something new. You know what I mean? So
yeah. What's up, Gary? Gary was in the class too. So right now you can see I'm on Turfway Park, race number 7, where Jake's been just crushing it. But right now it's a pain in the ass to go see if we have a note. No doubt about it. But believe me, folks, the change is coming and you're going to be happy and you're just going to scroll and you're going to see all those notes. You're not going to have to click on any darn tab. That's for sure. So that's coming. The reason the tabs are here is because as we've added more items, we've needed to create tabs. But the new way we've done things, of course, the one race we open up for Jake, there's no notes in the race.
Well, you can't. I mean, he's handicapping 12 horse fields and 8 race cards. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh. At least with fairgrounds, I guess in like short fields and can find some easy chalk. He's got to look through but that's what EquinEdge is good for. You know, you figure out, but he has a keen eye for bombs for sure, and that's a good place to be able to do that. You know what I mean? You can play.
You take a look who's in this chat.
There's a lot of peeps. There's a lot of
Cindy's in the house.
Yeah, I love seeing that. Yes,
man,
it's good to see the old, the new, everybody here. It's awesome.
Yeah, don't forget.
All right, let's.
Bill's got a good memory there. Real quick, Justin. I have these ones that I'll send out like once a year. Yeah, there's this cigarette ad. This woman that's just, what does it say? Something about ask yourself if marriage is right for you or something like that. It's really cute. All right, let's see if we can. Let's get out to. I was going to say we would watch Turfway Park, but it doesn't look like Jake has a note. And I may or may not be having an internet issue, but let's go to the first stakes race, see if I can get this up. Okay, incognito it is.
It's still on Turfway.
Yeah, I'm about to change it. Let's see here, 4th race. Okay, so I've got the 3 sneaky. It's tough, but you and Oldie are on the 6 horse.
Yeah, did we agree there? I was trying to remember. Yeah, we did. He was on. Yeah, he read it the same as me. 6-4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually had the 3 and 3rd. I thought it was between the 6 and 4. All right.
So we've got race number 5 at Fairgrounds. This is the $100,000 Lauderdale Memorial Stakes. 4 fillies, 2 years old. I love these young horses because I feel like with the tools that we have, the GSR and stuff like that, we can catch some of these horses beforehand instead of just afterwards. That's a big thing. I think before EquinEdge and maiden races, Justin, what did you do? How did you handicap?
Well, I didn't even know how to handicap
starters and second-time starters.
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, being honest, I have no idea. I probably just looked at like the trainer stat and that was it. That's all I knew how to do, probably.
Yeah. So what do you got? What do you have? What do you have here? Talk us through this race.
Yeah, this is definitely out of all the stakes races on Saturday, Scotty. I thought this was for me was the most wide open, to be honest. But you know, and part of that is just a little bit because I've been following the meet. So but I have to make a pick, right? Because I'm always going to make a pick on who I'm going to put on top. I think I would. See. I don't love the post on What a Moon with Jose, but he does have speed, Scotty, and so then I'm like, okay, you have Axel Concepcion riding the one. So to me, you kind of look at both of them. Axel's been absolutely cold at the meet, so he's not riding all of that good. He's 4 for 50. So, but he shows up in the stakes. But I'm going to land on Jose on the outside. I actually land on a lot of Jose's horses this weekend, Scotty. So, but I don't know. It's where I landed. I mean, this horse has speed. It is an outside post, but if you look, it just absolutely romped first out. It was only 9%. The GSR drops, but I think just from a speed perspective is where I looked at it here. But the other horse I'd look at would be the one, Her Laugh.
So I have a hard time. I'm not saying this horse can't win because it's 23% to win, and it's got a top pace number. I will say that, and I love the fact that it won by 9.5 lengths, but it fits the prototypical type of play that you need at Delta Downs. You need to be on the lead. Like very rare you're going to come from too far back at Delta Downs. So it's a hard read. Whereas now you've got that long stretch, and where horses, are gliding around the small oval or at Delta Downs, here they're breathing fire down the stretch. So it's just I don't know. Like, again, I'm looking at this for the first time, but I do think it would be a question. The one horse broke 10th from the 11 hole.
Know. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot, and then won that race over at Churchill Downs going 6 furlongs. And that wasn't 6.5, or that wasn't 7 furlongs. And so, that's, you would imagine if it could do that, what is it going to do here? It's 4 to 5 on the EE morning line. And that's interesting too, because you have the 7 horse that won by 9.5 lengths, yet the 1 horse is 4 to 5 on the EE morning line.
Yeah, I know. It's, but I don't, yeah.
And then the 2 horses burn money. It's still a maiden. It's burn money. What I look for, here's what I look for. I will say this. In the first start, the horse ran okay, ran from the rail and barely lost, showing a lot of grit. Then gets an outside post going 7 furlongs and had a perfect trip before losing. But that was a 58 group. But what I think I see with this horse is this is a 68 group. It didn't beat the last group from an 8-hole. And, but what do I know? These are the kind that I get confused about, Justin. And that is, this horse is going from 12% to 24%. So,
and Brandon Walsh's been hot, man. I mean, he's like 5 for 22 or something, Scotty. He shows up with a maiden here like that. That's why I really thought this race was tough, because you actually can see an angle there on like somebody like the 2 that, he has Morales up. He hit it with 21%. I mean, it has actually shot. I did cut the 5 and 6, so, and, but I didn't necessarily really like the 4. The 4 is a firster for, Whitworth, who has the 1 with Axel Concepcion. So,
yeah. I don't like this 5 to win, but I can tell you, when I look at the 5, I see a horse that went 6.5 furlongs at Delta Downs, was 6 and a quarter. Look at this. In the 4th call was 7.5 at the stretch, 7.5 lengths back, and only lost by 3 3/4 lengths against a 68 group. I mean, it takes a lot to be able to do that. I think this is a late running sprinter, and although it's cutting back in distance, it's getting it doesn't have these wider turns. You have to watch for that. When you got these horses coming from Delta Downs and Evangeline Downs, and they're coming to fairgrounds, some of the horses are bigger. They don't make those turns as fast. They're not as fast. You can find some good prices at fairgrounds by watching that closely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's I think that this race, you can find a lot of different angles. You have the GSR angle and the on Her Laugh and broke from a bad post. I mean, is she going to be in trouble if she doesn't break again? But hopefully second time out she breaks okay.
Here's an interesting angle. When you look at the 1 horse, you can see that the trainer is D. Whitworth Beckman. I've personally never heard of him, but what's interesting is Torres was aboard this one horse, okay, for that win. Now, you're running an $100,000 race. You don't have every opportunity to do that, and you're getting off of this horse to ride the EquinEdge long shot, the other Whitworth horse, and Torres, the jockey, was aboard, gets off and rides the 4. Well, how good is this 4 horse?
No, I know. Yeah, and it's the first time starter long shot, right? That's why I thought you couldn't, like, if you're I wouldn't be keen to. I would have to spread here, but
there's a lot of different angles, right, to be able to look at here. But also what's interesting is I know the win percentages don't like this first time starter, but look at the jockey trainer combination on the 4 and the 1 with Whitworth. He's never ridden Concepcion.
Yeah,
never.
No, I know.
Torres, he's 27% with.
Well, that's, and again, man, Axel cold at the meet, man. He only won like 4 mounts, so he's not winning, and now jumps in a stakes race.
This is a wide open race. And then the other interesting thing is for a 4% horse, why is the 4 horse not only the EquinEdge long shot, but also 5-1 on the morning line?
Yeah, no, it's a crazy stakes race. When you have a firster, a maiden, you have a couple kind of horses that maybe are proven but have some question marks, right? So, yeah. Right. Mike, I would as well. I would not play that race in a tournament. I wouldn't have the confidence either. All right, we go into 6?
Or maybe do play it because you're going to get a price if you like a horse, but maybe this one horse is a horse to try to beat, or at least in the 5th race. All right, we have the 6th race here. This is the $100,000 Blushing KD Stakes for fillies and mares, 3 and up. And let's run the race. And what do you think?
On the turf this time.
Yep.
The speed on the turf has not been doing well at all at fairgrounds, so that definitely played into my handicapping here from just a pace perspective.
So, I mean, that's a good pace advantage for the 2 in the first call. The 5 is fast. We have to look at their style, and the 5 style is to be near the lead. I think the jockey Saez is going to be very aggressive. He can clearly see that this horse, he's ridden this horse before. He's coming back. He's a little bit lower win percentage. The GSR is about the same. And I can completely see him sending. And then Callie's Gift faced a group like this, went 8 furlongs last time out, now stretches out to 8.5 furlongs. And this horse has done very well. You can see one time over at Fairgrounds on the turf, and where was that?
It was back last winter. Right. Yeah. Was that a similar? It was similar stakes, right? It was a little bit after Christmas.
It looks like this one's doing better here. I mean, this is an interesting horse for sure. I throw out this race 2 back. That was on the synthetic, and the GSR dropped from 63 to 48. Went back up here, and the horse won. Went off at almost 13-1. I mean, that's a complete angle that I know that you and I play all the time.
Yeah, I just thought they were going to stop up front, but there's definitely I think that might have been my 3rd pick, but I put the 3 on top, Scotty, and it really just became the 3 or the 1 for me. So you have, they're somewhat chalky again. It's, Stir Crazy, and you have Jose riding, and Jose won back both those races, once on the dirt, once on the turf, in a 62 and a 66. And then, ultimately kind of went on a short layoff, showed up at Kentucky Downs, didn't run, but that's fine. Just tossed that out. And then has run really well in a 68 and a 70. So, has hit the board 17 times in 24 tries, has 2 wins, 3 seconds, going 8.5. I just thought with the pace up front, they haven't been really running on the lead, that he was going to just set a perfect trip. I mean, in both those 2 races at Keeneland and Churchill was coming, didn't get there last out, but, was definitely wide at times and wasn't a perfect trip. I think it's definitely a little bit of an easier group for the 3 horse.
I was just looking. I had notes on Fairgrounds while you were talking. Sorry, I wasn't being rude. I was actually trying to find my notes Fairgrounds and how that turf course plays, because I don't remember fully. And let's see, Fairgrounds turf. Fairgrounds turf can't be on the inside. It's like running in a boggy swamp. That's the exact. So you don't want to be on the inside, if at all possible. And it looks like the 2 is going to be on the outside, and the 5 is going to be pressing. So maybe the 2 horse Callie's Grit, who's going to be bet, maybe that's a horse to try to play against.
That's how I viewed it, and I talked about the 5, and then I only had the 1 on top. He liked the 3. I think that was his 3rd pick, but he had Loot Worms legit. The 1 wins the race. Him obviously, won 4 in a row, Scotty, for Brittany Russell, and she puts up Florent Giroux on Loot Worm. Has 4 wins and 7 tries, just kind of progressing through. I think it's going to be better for the 1 to not be on the lead. It's going to be able to stock the pace, but it doesn't want to be stuck down there, just kind of running behind the pace. It's a little bit why I landed more on the 3. I thought Jose just might get a little bit of a better trip, and that horse seems to be coming from a little bit tougher, but Loot Worm's going to have to prove herself. 4-year-old filly, she's lightly raced. So, I thought the picks, had it with the 1 and 3. I put the 3 on top, though.
Well, disappointing effort last time out, but that was against a tougher group than what's lined up today, right? And then, but look, if you look at the trouble line, she was in the 6 path, and so she got caught wide around the turn, and that cost her. And prior to that, she had 4 straight wins and a second by a quarter of a length. I mean, she's a very nice filly, and if being on the inside is no bueno, then I would imagine the 1 horse would probably be very tough. I know you like the 3 horses, 9-5 on the odds makers morning line, but it is 3-1 on the EE morning line. But I definitely think this horse deserves a look. At racing a grade 3 last time out, throw that out, and it's right there. It was a $500,000 race. It broke bad. If you throw out that race, the last race only lost by 1 3/4 lengths. This is a pretty consistent horse. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
You know what? I know I'm handicapping right now on the fly with you, but I would go with the 1 and 3 just from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, that's where I thought too. It's I was able, I felt like in a lot of races I was able to kind of narrow it down to 2. I know you're looking at Cindy asked about the 6.
Well, I mean, what is interesting, off the layoff, this horse ran a bang up race at only 3% to win and barely lost, and that was a 60 GSR. And I can see it's turf races, I get it. But it also has been running at Louisiana Downs and these tight turns and Evangeline Downs. And now it's going to be able to, stretch her legs a little bit. And if she ran as good as she did last time out against a tough, non-graded stakes race at a 60 GSR, and now it goes back up, I agree with Cindy. And it's a very interesting horse. Okay. That's
race 7.
Yep. We're going to go to race number 7. And let's see what this is. Sorry.
The Blushing KD.
Yeah, let's see if I can. No.
Oh no, the Gun Runner.
Yeah, my internet. Let me try something else here.
Yeah, Bluegrass. That's awesome. A week in advance. And you can handicap it with the EE morning line, right? If you want a morning line, you don't even have to have a track morning line. Oh, you got it. It's up.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
So this is the Gun Runner, right? We did we had the 6th race last time, right?
Yes. Yeah. This is the award Derby points in this one. So last week we covered the Springboard Mile on the preview show, and Coal Battle won and was an absolute price. We got like 8-1 or something, Scotty, in the Springboard. But
right, Dave, when are we going to do it? I think Chris wants to do something for sure. Chris always wants to do something.
Oh man, you want to do a cruise?
Handicapping cruise seminar trip.
Yes, we could do horses during the day and poker at night. It'd be awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Who wants to come? Let's get a vote. Let's get about 20 people on a cruise. How much fun will that be? You know what? The only thing, Chris, none of us want to see you in your Speedo. I know you wear those Speedos, and I don't know, Justin, we don't want to see those, right?
Oh, Matt Miller's gonna come in too.
We're not doing Speedos, and Matt Miller with poker will just, the guy is like, just, he'll ruin the whole thing. We can't let him play poker.
No, we can't. It would be great. It would be just fine. All right.
Listen, we're gonna have Matt Miller. Mike, you're gonna be in Vegas, right? I think, Mike, are you still trying to qualify, or did you get you got to come either way? And
well, everybody needs to come if they haven't. They can qualify with me. Try to qualify with me because I am going to be doing the same thing again. So,
wait, no, we're not letting you hustle us, Matt. You ain't dealing. You ain't. That's like I'm dealing.
Mike, yeah. You have to come to play the last chance.
Yeah, you can. Justin qualified in the last chance. Yeah, Cindy. Yep, bring the bikini. Oh, Matt says I'm not going to play. No, hell no. We want you to. We want a chance of taking your money. We know. Listen, Matt. I don't know. Matt probably knows this. I'm sure it's talked about. But Matt's the first person I see that plays crazy like I do. Like Matt doesn't mess around. I was watching Matt in the tournament like a month and a half ago. I think he was on top, and then I turn around and I look and he's gone. Only I do that. Only I do that.
He shoves all in just like you. He has a plan, and his plan is to win.
Yeah, me too. Justin, how many tournaments would I have been second, third, fourth? And
many more.
Disappearing act, exactly, Matt. Hey, Chris, do me a favor and put Matt's book up there. A Better Way of Dealing. That's a good one, Dan.
A Better Way of Thinking. I'll give you the website. You can go order that. Makes a great stocking stuffer. Anybody that you know that's a horse player, a sports bettor, just wants good information. It's a great read. There's some good life stories in there and everything else. Yeah. It sits right behind me on all of our stretch run shows. Yeah, maybe we'll have Matt on this weekend. We had him on a couple weeks ago. It was a very successful week, but I will drop that in the chat right now.
And how great would it be if one of the EquinEdge customers or community would win, because David Harrison at the time was not using EquinEdge, unfortunately, but now he's a huge part of the community.
Yeah, he's dove right in. I've talked to him.
He has. It's really neat to see the way Matt bought into EquinEdge. It really is. It's it takes a while. When I first built this EquinEdge, it took me 1.5 years myself to get off the form, and it was my product. I mean, it's not easy, but it's come a long way though too. But
well, you know me, because I grew up not even really using the form. I didn't know how. I just used DR. I bought a few, and then I found out about Formulator. But the one thing I would say is I feel like this tries to make it a little more easy to read and interpret for you versus having to learn, right? You have to learn it, but it's done some of the hard work for you, which I think is awesome, right? It's just how you then piece it together. So
for sure. Matt, you need to get this book on Blinklist. I love Blinklist. I'm a Blinklist fan. You know what that is, Justin?
No. What is it?
Blinklist is essentially an app where it takes a 350-page book and it's an audio and turns it into 20 minutes and pretty much gives you the entire gist and the key points to that book. I could do 10, 15 of those a week, easy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Really neat. All right. So who are you on in here?
Admiral Dennis. I think there's probably some talk about some of these horses, but I didn't get the chance to look at all of that. But it's Brad Cox. I think this horse is well meant for the Albaugh family stables. I think they got a legit one, Scotty. I mean, it's a nice GSR. It's the first time it's stretching out to 2 churns, right? So I think that's the biggest question mark. But on the GSR side, I don't see any problem. I don't like the speed up front here. So it's a small group. It's only 5 horses, right? So it's competitive. They're going for Derby points. It really wins on the race sim fairly easily, wins by 1.5. But, I thought this was a good one for Brad Cox and Alba family, and Louis rides. And, he won last out. Flo was on the 5 Admiral Dennis first time and then switched to Louis. To me, I'm playing Louis over Flo for Brad Cox all day. I mean, it seems that Brad's definitely doesn't use Flo as much anymore. So I just think that this is a really nice one. I have heard some buzz about Admiral Dennis Scotty, so I think some people actually think this horse might have talent for Derby. So we'll get to see.
I love this horse.
Yeah,
I remember this horse running last time out from that outside post and won for fun, just cruising. And this horse is only going to get better. I really like the improvement. The horse went up 13 points in GSR. It ran good from the inside post against 10 other horses, going 6.5. And it's not a surprise they're running over at Churchill Downs. They've got bigger plans for this horse, and I guarantee they love this horse. And I don't even think there's any. I looked at the other ones while you were talking about this one, and I don't think there's any reason to even look at the other ones. I think Admiral Dennis is a single.
Yeah, Oldie agreed on the 5. Looks like Mike's got the 5 in the stable. And has the experience at Churchill. So I think this, if you'd like, and I don't think the future pool is open. I don't know what Admiral Dennis was, but if you get odds maybe somewhere else and you have interest in this horse, you might be getting better odds, obviously, than you would after he races here. So there's always a fun little angle there, I think, too, Scotty. And you could make that case for any of these, I'm sure. But I'm with you. I thought that a single really just looks like a really nice horse. So,
what's interesting is, but I don't think there's any really big races right now for this horse to run in. My concern is why is the horse in this race and not in the graded race right now? And the more I think about it, I don't think there is. I think
that's what's next. I mean, is Admiral Dennis going to? Admiral Dennis wins here, Sky. Admiral Dennis going to the next Fairgrounds Derby points race to essentially qualify, because I don't think this is a lot of points, Scotty. I think it's one of like the Springboard Mile, but if he's ready and he's racing, he's prepping obviously early, and is he going to be on the Louisiana Derby Trail? Those horses have done very well lately, right? At the Derby and in graded stakes, these horses that are taking the Louisiana route. So that I think I have a lot of intrigue to watch this race and see how he does.
And by the way, I want to give a shout out too. I love, one of the things that I set out to do early on, we had a decision to make with EquinEdge. We were either going to take this platform and only focus not on the platform itself, building it, but we were going to do it, and we were just going to work on all the algorithms and then gamble with it ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Create a CAW, do all that stuff, and I made a decision early on, and I lost a few key people because of it, that I really wanted to see what we could do giving this to the public. And you got Matt Miller, one of the top handicappers, putting in there in the chat, stone cold single for me. Like, I love this. I love generous people like that. I think the more generous you are and offering information without holding it back and being sneaky, when you do that, it comes back to you in spades. And we know what I know. Matt knows. There's a lot of people in this industry. You go over. I'm not going to mention names, but I will say some people I thought, okay, I got a good relationship with. I'm playing in a tournament, and I asked the question, hey, they had privy information, by the way. Hey, what do you think of this horse? And there, next thing you know, it's like they're talking up a storm. And next thing you know, it's like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and so, and those are the types of people I just don't want in my life. Business, personal, doesn't matter. Like, it's like, okay, we can be friends when it benefits you, but like, I think people that want to help people, that are generous people, it's just amazing, and I agree, Gary. I agree. I couldn't agree more. But anyways, I'm not going to speak. You could probably, you can probably guess as to who I'm talking about. But anyways, all right. So the 5 horse, I think we all agree this horse is, it sure is, Al. It's better to give than it is to receive.
All right, race 8.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm having to switch between systems because
you're okay. You're better off sharing than I am. I was doing my video last night, and I think I had to restart my MacBook 3 times, and it was just. But it's. I'm gonna have to move to a MacBook Pro off of MacBook Air.
I've got the Pro.
Yeah, it's better. My MacBook Air is. Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
no bueno.
All right, let's run this race. While it's running, why don't you start us off?
Well, I'm back to back on the Louis Saez doubles, Scotty. So you're probably going to get some good value there for Matt Miller if he likes the 5. I personally like the 4. I do think there's a little bit more to talk about in here, but I do like Louis here. Is coming from predominantly for Brad Cox. So we have a back-to-back. So I think that's a Brad Cox double. It's a Brad Cox Louis double. I guess that's what we're playing. So, comes from tougher Scotty. You have a morning line angle there. Cox and Saez are hitting just outstanding. Again, Louis ships in here at Fairgrounds for this weekend, or at least for Saturday. I'm not sure if he's riding tomorrow. I need to still look. But, the Fairgrounds turf, Scotty, I mean, the horses ran 5.5 one time, predominantly been racing at 5, right? So it's going to be a little bit different from that perspective, but gets a good trip, I think. And again, coming from Gulfstream, so it's a much different turf course, I know, but I think in a race like this, you're going to get good value. I don't necessarily like, it's going to be up close, which I think is going to be important here, sprinting on the turf on going 5.5, but doesn't need to lead, right? So, but I think we'll get a good stocking position. It's first time Cox off the trainer switch.
So this is what I see. And by the way, this horse had a couple of checked inside, checked 7/16, stymied. I mean, you never want to see those words in the trouble line. What I do see though is this horse keeps causing itself a lot of troubles, and it's drawing. This is the 3rd inside post that it's draw, and it earned all its money back here. This is where it's earned all its money, and it's just been burning money ever since. I have mixed feelings when you see the 6 wins in 4 seconds. That's impressive, but the big key is Brad Cox takes over. So. Yeah. Yes. Maybe because of that. And when you see something like that in red, that means it's a first-time occurrence. And you want to look at the changes to see if he did anything, and he didn't do anything. But I will say this: Jose went to Fairgrounds for a reason, and the reason is big.
Or Jose or Louis?
Jose.
Okay, yeah.
He's been there. I mean, he's a leading jockey. Okay, Why did he go there in the first place? He went there for big days like this, and you can bet that his book is loaded with people wanting him on his horses on those big days, and he's been building those relationships. If he doesn't win 4 or 5 races on this card, there's a problem.
And I have him on a lot of horses, but he's not even in this race. Jose not even riding in this race, so maybe he picks up a mount. But but I thought there's it's the top win, Scotty. It's the second pick. It really in turf racing, I can see why, as I've more matured in handicapping, why turf sprints are so tough. David Harrison talks a lot about that. And I get it. Sometimes you can look kind of wide open, but, I think you'll get a good price here on the 4. The 7 is the Ravelli, Scotty. And, that horse is dropping a couple points in SOR. It's the top pick. And both of these are definitely coming from a little bit tougher. Right. So from an SOR perspective, Scotty, the 7 and 4 are up there, versus, but they're all fairly competitive. But as an outside post, you have E.T. Baird is riding, so he's not been riding at Fairgrounds. Maybe he's been off. He's fairly old, right? I think this guy been riding forever, is my understanding. So, but he comes in here. Ravelli's on fire, Scotty. I mean, I need to look after today. He might be leading the meet. So, but I thought was a play against on the 7, Scotty. That's why I landed on the 4. I'm like, this horse is going to take money. It's probably going to go off as the favorite. But so, that's you obviously you could look at some of these others, but when I handicapped it, I definitely narrowed it down. Oldie also had the 1 in the 9. I wouldn't disagree if we want to talk about the 1, Scotty, Mischievous Rogue. I mean, it's Brittany Berg off the claim from Mike Maker. So, I mean, ran well last out, didn't break. But she's only, you can see there 12%. Loveberry ride though, so that's a positive. He's second leading jock at the meet. But you can, in a race like this, Scotty, you can look at them all and be like, oh my gosh. Like, so I just really went with the SOR perspective in the picks. So, well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So look, Brad Cox takes over for the 4. The 7 horse is going to be one of the favorites. Has been burning money for 1, 2, 3, 6 races. So I mean, no matter what, even though this is a good horse, been in the money in 13 of 17 tries. No, to me the 7's a play against. I think you have to play. I think you have to bet on Brad Cox improving this 4 horse. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to improve the 4 horse. Just looking at this horse, and I haven't looked at all of them. I will. And I know you're going to write on this stuff too, but I think the 4 horse Panther Island would be my play.
I love it. The daily double. It's a Cox Saez double. I mean, Matt's hearing this. Maybe he'll land up somewhere around that too. He probably gonna, however he plays it. But he talked about the, Admiral Dennis being a key. To me, it's a great, not have to spend a ton of your bankroll, but it's a good play because you're probably gonna get 8-1, maybe you might 6-1. I mean, if Matt playing, gonna be lower, but yeah.
So I want to talk about this comment that Bill made. Initially I just kind of let it go by and I showed it, but the more I think about, so I know that Bill actually has connections to somebody. He's got inside connections to the Mark Lapp barn. So I just think that the EquinEdge community deserves to know that maybe they should take this comment very seriously and give each Mark Lapp horse an extra look, because I can't remember the name of the horse. I know it went in the Breeders' Cup, and I was playing in the BCBC, and I hammered that horse, and it lost by a nose. I might have been to Cody's Wish. I don't know. It was, but Bill will know, and the name of it. And I mean, I would have won the BCBC that year if that horse would have won. And it lost by a nose. But so Bill, anyways, Bill knows that bar. I'll be watching the Mark Lapp barn very carefully.
Yeah, and there, Mike mentioned the 7 might even scratch if it did run a week ago. You are right.
So one time, one of those horses that he once scored in huge, and he has vexed me over since. Yeah, I will pass on racing them in there. I agree. I understand. There you go.
You're playing out of the race before, so race 3. So I'm looking forward to look at that then, Matt. But
Dr. Scheibel, Dr. Scheibel from Mark Platt. That was one of the worst beats I ever took. Okay, that's the Richard Schurer Stakes, Memorial Stakes. Let's go to race number 9 and start us off.
So, I'm just writing notes. The Tenacious Stakes, I love it. You got Track Phantom on the inside, Scotty. We talked about Jose. We're going to talk about him again. I really like Track Phantom. It has been at Fairgrounds for Steve Asmussen. Of course, he put Jose up on Track Phantom. I won on the lead. Sky went off the lead. It's going to be on the rail. The other speed is on the outside in Saudi Crown, and that's the Cox and Florent Giroux ride. I want Saez on the inside with speed versus Florent Giroux on the outside with speed. So for me, I really like Track Phantom here. I mean, knows the Fairgrounds course, going 2 turns, has a win in a 68 and 70, and then Scotty ended up in the Derby, right? And, didn't run, but I still think this horse has talent. Came back off the layoff, right? Didn't win in a 70, but I think it's a good prep here. This is not graded stakes. It's stakes company, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with Track Phantom, and I love the price at 3-1. Like on the inside rail, Jose dictate, figure out his way, and just be better than these. So
I don't know that I love this horse. Let me take you back on this horse a little bit. So if you look back here, let's take a look. Fairgrounds, 8.5 furlongs in the Gun Runner that's being run today, and won that race barely holding on against 6 other horses against a 70 group. Okay. Now remember, you've got this long stretch. Then wins this race. Now it was forwardly placed on the lead, and that was only a 68 group in the Lecomte. Okay.
But look at those posts. They're brutal, like brutal. The horse never had a shot. I mean, the 11 post in the Louisiana Derby and the Risen Start, 0 shot. Not happening going 8.5. No way. Never. I don't see it. It don't matter how much speed you have. If you're facing 74s and 76s, like, no way. But keep going.
Yeah. No, you're making good points. I'm looking at those posts. Throughout the Derby was 41-1. Here had the 11 hole and a grade 2 going 9.5 furlongs and held pretty good. I mean, I just worry about this horse in the Fairgrounds track. Let's see the race simulator and see, is this horse going to have, I mean, is the 7 going to press the shit out of this horse? I mean, this horse needs the lead. This is a nice horse. If Florent Giroux, you know what? I mean, he could really, okay, let's just run this race assuming. I wasn't going to go there.
I told you but so is it a speed duel that you're going to probably land on Kinetic, in my opinion? And that would be my second pick. But,
let's see Kinetic style. I know. Okay, I'm sorry, Chris.
Only land on Kinetic, and I can never fault anybody to land on Kinetic. But I think Track Phantom would go horse. But go ahead about Kinetic.
Well, I mean, Kinetic's lightly. Brad Cox could win 5 or 6 races today, right? Or on Saturday. Like, he's got this one with Saez aboard. Like,
yeah, so maybe it's a Louis Saez cold pick 3. I mean, for Brad Cox, it would be 3 in a row. I mean, I don't know, Jose gonna get his wins too, but
I don't know. Listen, Saudi Crown only has one damn way of going. That's it. Like, one way. And like, look, I got an angle for you. You want it? You want this angle?
Yep.
Guess who the trainer of the 7 is?
Well, it's Brad Cox.
And who's the trainer of the 2?
Well, he's a rabbit, right? Is where you're going.
The 7 is going to fly with the 1 horse, and the 2 horse is going to get up and be the benefactor of that and win that race. That's it right there. Done. Kinetic. I'll take the 2. That's what's happening. There's no way.
Yeah,
so, listen,
I would have to use the 1 in my pick 3. I'm not playing it cold. I'm using the 1 and 2. I don't like Saudi Crown at all, but it's funny though, Scotty, because when I handicapped these, I kept getting to 2 horses all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, now you got to figure out what you're going to. That's what makes it hard. But
listen, let me tell you something. If you just get on board with conspiracy theories, your life will be much easier. Trust me. Okay, they're real. They happen. Okay, this 7 horse is going to be a rabbit, going to push the hell out of the one. You watch. Florent Giroux is the perfect culprit to do this. He is going to send this horse. You watch.
So can Track Phantom rate?
Look at. I don't think Saudi.
No, not Saudi Crown. Track Phantom, the 1.
No.
Why not?
No. Show me where this horse has proven it can rate at all. Just because it was a neck behind at the first call, that's not rating. This horse can't rate. No,
I know, but the horse only had 9 tries. I mean,
in 9 tries, I think we know if a horse needs a lead or not. And Saudi Crown, think about this right now. Saudi Crown got smoked in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Should never even been in there. And then ended up being that grade 3. That wasn't a bad effort. But listen, here's what I see. When Saudi Crown gets the lead, it's just an entirely different horse. Brad Cox knows that. And look at, why does he put the horse in a non-graded stakes race? Well, first of all, after they went to Maidan and got his ass smoked, I mean, he ends up, most of the horses don't come back to win off of those things. Then look, Then I don't know what Brad's doing. Then he decides I'm going to put this horse that barely won a non-graded stakes race and let's throw him in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. No, sorry. And then gets smoked, and now he's here. And look, every time Florent Giroux's been aboard this horse, what has he done? What has he done?
He wins, but he's always on.
He sends the horse every time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He sends the horse. Every time he is on this horse, he sends the horse. Like he's not taking a chance. He is going, and he's going to go flying. The one's going to go flying. Something's got to give, and the two horses are going to be sitting back under Luis Saez and just kind of going like this and going, hey, we're out for a daily stroll and going to just pass on by him. Boom. That's how it's going to go down.
I can see it. You'll probably change my opinion. We'll see what happens in the notes.
No, what I have to figure out is not who's going to win. I got to figure out who's the horse I'm going to play in the exacta. That's who I got. I think it might be the 3 Warrior Johnny.
Yeah, you get a good price.
You're going to get a good price. Listen, Phil Bauer.
Sure 6-8 to 1. Yeah.
If you haven't learned yet, Phil Bauer can train.
I agree.
All right, let's get out of this race. Okay, run. We've got race number 10. This is the 3 and up $100,000 Buddy Delberto Memorial Stakes.
On the turf, 2 churns again. 3 going to be on the lead, but I don't know. I'm not playing much pace horses on the lead at fairgrounds on the turf, Scotty. It's just not great.
Well, remember from the inside as well.
Right? Yeah, no, yes, but I think that Gigante, it's Jose again, but that's fine. It's playing mostly Jose and Saez, it looks like, on Saturday, to be honest. But 2 in a row back with Jose, Scotty, in a 64 and a 66, kind of stalking the pace, has raced versus much tougher. Like this, a 6-point SOR drop is absolutely insane, man. I mean,
this horse has burned a lot of money, but I will say this too. Look, this is what I don't like. When it faces,
how's the horse burn money? When?
Well, I mean, look at the horses had a 19% win, 11% last time out. It ran third. Okay, so yes, and that's 5 to 1, 7 to 1. But you're right. You can't consider that burning money. But let me give you another angle. It faced a 64 group at 42%, going 8 furlongs on the turf here at Fairgrounds, and it won by a quarter of a length.
Yes,
I think this horse is
well,
maybe a horse you might want to try to beat.
I mean, I think you need to look at the group first. Don't get too. This is not the. It's not. I already found
my horse.
The 3 on the lead.
The 3's not going to have the lead. The 3 can rate. Look at the race 2 back. The 3's going to sit. Nice claim. Mike Maker he has been genius at taking horses on claims and putting them in stakes races. He's been doing that for the last few months. And look who's aboard. Saez is aboard. The GSR is a beautiful GSR. The win percentage goes up. You're going to get a return on an investment immediately. I'm in love with the 3.
I mean, I said it fits here. It does. It's the top pick. So whether it sits right off.
He's got 8 wins in 21 races.
Yeah, no, I know. It's and
look at, not only that, it has a little bit of back class. This isn't a strong field. The 2 horse is not all that. And then look at the 1 horse. The 1 horse is definitely not all that. And
I know.
Right? So I mean, the 3 completely fits in this race. Look at these horses in here. This is not that strong of a field. That's why you're seeing an SOR of 66. Interestingly, this horse coming in for Hawthorne, for Chris Block, has won 4 straight races. But the GSR drops, the win percentage drops to 4%. I don't know. It's definitely on a roll, doing well, coming off a little bit of a layoff. It is. I think it's going to get bet because it's 5 to 1 EE morning line. But
that was Ollie's top pick. Was the
6 was?
Yeah. I'm
going to try to beat that horse with the 3. And
I had the 3 second. I had the 2 first, the 3 second. I did think probably underneath stitched maybe, but had some tough efforts. Declan Cannon rides. It's going to be at a price, but I'm not sure the 5 can win. But I just went with the SOR. That's a big drop, Scotty, for the 2. And you have a big dropper with Jose. And again, those efforts aren't awful. You know what I mean? And I know 6 points is material here. So it comes out of graded stakes, right? So
yeah. All right, let's head up to race number 11 at Fairgrounds. It's a 1.70 2-year-old fillies, $100,000 untappable stakes. And based on the win percentages, this is a wide open race.
Yeah, it is. Definitely from a price perspective, but I didn't deviate very far from Bluegrass Dan likes the long shot. That was my second pick. He might change my mind. Interesting. The 1 horse and the 6 horse, Scotty. I love the exacta in this race with the 1 and the 6. I think the 6 got a big shot. Louis get off the 1 to ride the 6 horse. I mean, the 6 horse has won 2 in a row for Eddie Keenley. He won today with Saez. Or I think Louis was riding today, if I remember correctly. But Keenley had a win today. I mean, really well bred. Scotty on the 6 horse. I mean, gets to 2 turns. Was at 2 turns. She's a nice 2-year-old filly, right? What's the connections or Green Lantern stables? So she won her maiden in 46 and won a 62, and is just kind of going through the progression here into stakes race. And she's been in big fields and gets to 2 turns for a second time. So I now I'm gonna have to further look, because anytime Bluegrass tell me a horse is working lights out and it's the long shot and it's 10-1 on the 1 horse, I gotta do more homework. So yeah, but I landed on the 6. The 1 was my second pick.
So the 1 is interesting even though Saez bolts for the 6 horse, and the reason is that Saez tried his shot twice on this horse, and it didn't work. Now the horse was facing easier. That being said, the win percentage stays, and Cohen's and Block are 29%. So there's a chance that Saez actually got taken off of the 1, and in a wide open race like this, in the EquinEdge long shot and a horse to watch here, I don't know that I would ignore that horse. This is the toughest race we've looked at by far, for sure.
Yeah, I remember the second one was tough too. Like to start the card, the second stakes. But I agree with you. It's you could go a lot of ways. You really could. We could talk about some others, but I had 6. I had the picks though, Scotty. I was 6-1-7 in my picks. I know Ole liked the 5, California Street. That's who he had on top.
For me, the 4 horse is interesting because of how easily. So what I like is the horse went 8.5 furlongs with 6% to win, and McPeak is 7% with first-time starters. With second-time starters, he jumps up to 13%. And she got experience going 8.5 furlongs from the 9 hole, and then faced a little bit tougher group, went up in win percentage, and then wins by 9 lengths. I'd like to see that progression with young horses, and for that reason, in a race that looks wide open to me, I would take the newcomer filly that seems to have some upside for Ken McPeak. He might have a really nice filly here. This is a very interesting. The breeding looks really, really good. I'm going to take the 4 horse.
That was Ole's third pick.
All right. Let's go to. Okay, that's it at Fairgrounds. Now where are we going?
Gulfstream.
Gulfstream
Park. The Gulfstream, down where your home is.
Yeah, it's about 15, 20 minutes from me.
Yeah, are you closer now or further away?
A little bit further, actually. Okay.
Race, what's their
4? Race 4. This is the Sugar Swirl Stakes. And, in these, a lot of times what people don't realize and this is why Safi Joseph does so good. He knows the configuration, and he can get first-time starters to win as good as anybody at Gulfstream Park. He had one that won today with a really low GSR. but it got disqualified because it lugged out. I thought it was a bad disqualification, actually. It lugged out, but the other horse was already out as well. But it did get disqualified. But I look for Safi Joseph with horses like this in these young races. I don't know if he's even in here, but let's see. He's got 1, 2, 5 horses. That's all. Yeah, he's in here. Jeez.
Scotty, I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, it's just Safi versus everybody it's Safi versus Delgado and Mott, but it's like, what?
Safi's a machine, man. I mean, that guy is no joke, but he also understands. It's almost like Baffert understands 2-year-olds and what he needs to do to get them up. Safi understands Gulfstream Park, especially with the babies and especially when they're sprinting. And he has them cranked. Like, he has those horses cranked. Most people aren't cranked. So Safi essentially is cranking horses early. So when you're looking at maiden, basically, Dave, yeah, exactly. Like, he is. And I'm not even saying that as a negative connotation. I really am not. But it's just true. So you can look for him to do really well. Now, he's got 5 of them in here, so I have no idea. Now, Spirit Wind is one of his horses. I don't like this, though, Judge. I mean, this horse was 59% here and lost, 67% here and lost. Look at this SOR. Holy crap. I mean, this is a non-graded stakes race. That's an 80 SOR. I've seen grade 1s that are not 80.
I know. Yeah, it's because Spirit Wind came out of that grade 2, Scotty, at Saratoga, and then Mystic Lake has the grade 2 and the grade 3 win. I mean, they probably, Safi has so many horses, you got to race them versus each other. That's kind of lame if you were connections, because both of them look like they could win a stakes race easy, and now they're facing each other.
Well, welcome to the championship meet over at Gulfstream Park, by the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, so, and you have Irad versus Gaff, right? So I haven't really been playing there other than on Saturdays for a stretch run, but you've been covering there a lot. I'm guessing they're both starting out fine at the meet. So,
well, for me, this is an easy decision. I think first of all, the 7 horse with all these tough horses, and it's crazy. I know the win percentage says 62%. This horse is 2-1. But in a situation like this, when you're looking at a bunch of horses, it looks so good. Look at these horses on paper. And then you see that 6-5 on the EE morning line, draws a good post, and is going to probably be sitting in the garden spot while the 1 and the 4 are dueling. There's the 7 horse just sitting beautifully with Irad aboard. You give Irad an outside post with a good horse and forget about it. 5 wins and 12 tries, been in the money at 9-12. And you can look at the horses where the horse run good. First of all, I think this is a sprinter. Went 8.5 furlongs in the cotillion, grade 1. And look at where this horse was in the stretch. It was only a length and a half back.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, and Oldie agrees too. Probably I know the win percent doesn't agree. Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say, Scotty. Because Gary, I saw the same thing there, but I'm glad that Gary brought that up. You can see the work notes there, Scotty. So I think working lights out. You have Irad. He probably kind of gets his choice, I would assume, Scotty, of where the Mystic Lake had Mike Smith riding and. Mike Smith also been riding Spirit Wind, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think Irad probably had his choice, right? Would be my guess. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, look, yeah. I mean, look at these. You got 3 of them here. Positive works on Mystic Lake. You got that outside post, Irad. And not only that, here's another thing that is, for those that don't know, but look, yes, this horse won a grade 2. Look at it, barely won. There was only 4 other horses. So, but you're looking for horses when you're confused, you're not sure what to do. Like, I think the win percentage completely got this wrong. Then you go look at this and you see grade 3 by 4.5 lengths. Here the horse barely lost for whatever reason. I don't know. It did draw the rail and was pressed early and still hung on. And then you go here, wins by 5 3/4 lengths in the grade 2. And in the cotillion, going 8.5 furlongs, something it probably doesn't want to do. In the stretch, it was 1.5 lengths back. Like always give more credit to the graded races than you do the non-graded stakes races, even if the non-graded stakes races have big purses. I can't believe how monstrous this race came up. I like Mystic Lake easily to win this race. All right, where are we going next?
What, race 8?
Race 8.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're not opinionated, are we?
Well, you have to be. Might as well, if you're gotta at some point have confidence and give a perspective.
You don't know. I mean, we spend a lot of time. Sometimes I love that we're doing this tonight. I didn't handicap, but look how fast we can handicap. But I think we're also very capable of saying, I have no clue. This race looks too tough, but I actually have got some pretty strong opinions for somebody that didn't handicap prior. So
I love it.
So, all right, let's run this race.
Were we on 8? Yeah.
Race number 8. So wide open on the win percentage.
This is a tough race, brother.
Let me show you one way you can maybe sometimes clear things up. So 5 furlongs on the turf.
Yeah.
Like Gulfstream Park, if you don't know, you better be within 2 lengths of the leader at the stretch. And I can tell you in the first call, you better not be too far back. So you see the 1, you see the 4, you see the 8, you see the 10, chuck them out. Chuck them out. Like, forget about it. You cannot be that far back and make up all that ground going 5 furlongs on the turf at Gulfstream Park. So instantly, I don't even care what I don't even care if it shows them winning. It maybe for the exotics, don't get me wrong, but if we're looking for the win, then you can narrow it down. I'm going to be 95% correct that one of these 5 horses is going to win the race. 6 horses is going to win the race. So then you can go to the stretch. And now the 9 horses backing up. It's 30-1 E Morning Line, so it's going to be part of the paces all. So now we can get rid of that horse. Okay. Now I have to look at the 3 horse, but the 3 horse is right there. The GSR is going up, but I mean one of these 5 horses is going to win this race, probably 97% to win.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And look, the 10 horse is the top EquinEdge pick. I threw out the top 2 EquinEdge picks.
Yeah, I know. The 4 win the race, Sim, or nearly wins. I think the 10 actually wins. Yeah, the 10 does. But
on paper, does this look like a horse that you want to back that's going to be 7-5? Look at this horse.
Well, no, it's dropping, but it can't come from that post, that outside like that, and trying to navigate. And you know why, Scotty? Also, the rail is at 66 feet at Gulfstream, so they're going to be sprinting in like the middle of that turf course with. Wow. I mean, they're going to have 12 entries. Like, oh man, like. I just don't. It's going to be so hard for those horses to navigate that trip. I mean, I rat on the 10 and Miguel right in the 4, but yeah.
Well, not only that too. When you have a wide post, especially in a race that you need to be near the pace. This horse is projected to be 5-6 lengths back at the first call. The rail is out, and it's got that wide post. I mean, like that horse has to be 10 lengths the best to win this race. So, all right. So if we're narrowing it down to these 3 horses, why don't we look more in depth? You want to do that?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah.
All right. So this, you can see when you're looking at 5 furlongs, look, this horse was 2 lengths back and barely got up to win that race. Like that's where you have to be. So when you project here at the first call, the horse is going to be about 2 lengths back. So you know, in a wide open race, why not a horse like XY Speed? I could see this horse winning. It's won 4 of its last 6 races. It barely lost this race. The only race it lost, it had a wide post against a grade 2 group at 3% to win. It still only lost by 2 3/4 lengths. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. No, I mean, gonna save ground. I think we'll be fine. Yeah. I probably
Armio's aboard.
Yeah, he was a great jock. And at 8%, you're going to have a great price. I mean, if you're playing a horizontal, it's probably include. The 5 going to be up on the lead.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Yes,
Brad Cox.
yes, I am free. Cox picked up. I don't know what happened to this Laura Cazares. I don't even know who that is, but he picked up multiple of her horses.
He sure did. And I was about to throw this horse out until I just saw Brad Cox. If you want to know if there's a new trainer, just look right here, or it'll be in red. Red on our website means new trainer. This is an 8-year-old, like Chris is saying, a gelding, old warrior, but this horse is still not for sale. And Brad Cox might. Let's see if the workouts are any different. You can see just steady workouts. There's nothing in particular, but you can, Brad Cox has his system, and they all go through that system. I will say this: that last race was off of a layoff, and this horse, is second off the layoff. And Brad Cox with first time out horses is 35%.
Yeah, 5's a player. You're gonna be.
Well, I agree. 5 will drop anchor, but maybe not, guys. Maybe not. Brad Cox is taking over. Brad Cox is a 22% trainer with 35% with first out horses compared to an 11% trainer. I'm just saying, there is a big, big difference. It is the EquinEdge long shot. It's 22% to win. So might be a horse that we want to watch for. The one thing I think we can all agree on is this horse needs the lead for its best.
Well, I think it will probably get it. The 7 has some speed too with Johnny V, who's another Cox. So Cox and they're both, that came from Brittany Russell. So it's like, oh my gosh. He's picked up 2. I mean, they're both nice horses that need the lead, it looks like. Scotty, I ended up on the 11 when I looked at this. I think isn't going to be an outside post, but it has speed. And I think Tyler going to find a good spot. And, it is, I don't know. I might land on the 5, to be honest. The 5 might just get the lead. That's probably where I'm going to land. I'm going to land on the 5. I think the 5, might be dangerous on the front end for Cox.
Yeah. So the race simulator, look, how many times have you seen a 99 pace number?
Not often. I mean, turf sprint, that's it. I think turf sprint probably the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, even that, you just very rarely see it. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So let's just, it'd be easier for us to look at these horses. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. And there's the 3. Okay. So the 11 horse Coppola, you like Coppola. Why?
I just think he'll be able to sit right off the speed. He's going to have to break well. The outside post doesn't do bad as long as you have speed sprinting like that. So, it has been racing versus much tougher, Scotty, and backing up. But, I mean, it does have a 3rd and 4th and just missed in 74s. So, I mean, this is a bit of an easier group. Cuts back from 5.5 to 5. Has won at Gulfstream. You look back last March in the Silks run. I mean, won a similar race like this in a 74. So, but, I do think the 5 might just be faster. And speed's just going to be really dangerous here. But if the 11 can just slide over behind the speed of the 5 and 7, sit right off the 2. I mean, but that also the 2 could save ground and run a big race, right? But yeah.
3 might be a little bit cheap for these. You know who I'm really liking the more we're talking? Look, at this horse had the 11 hole in the grade 2, and look, it was in between horses and then was 6 wide, and that was all from the 11 hole at 25-1 and only 3%. This horse is super consistent. I mean, it's almost guaranteed that this horse is going to be in the money. This gelding really tries, and first of all, you could get a price in here. For me, I'll cover these horses. I'll cover all of these horses only because, anybody could get a bad trip. But if I had to choose only one horse, it would be the 2. All right, who are you going with, Justin?
I'm going to go with 5 on the front end with Junior and Cox.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is a tough race, Mike. I thought it was, which isn't really surprising. Turf sprints are just they're just can be so tough.
All right. Let's see. We got Gulfstream Park, race number 9. Here we go. This is the Harlan's Holiday Stakes, Grade 3, purse of $160,000. And
the two coming out of just monster races, Scotty. Brendan Lynch, Tyler Gaff rides. I mean, gonna be even money, as you know, really well bred, but now goes out to 8.5 and has ran a lot of 8 furlong races. Has only run once at 8.5 at Gulfstream and ran second up near the lead. So, you know, it's the top pick in Tumbaramba. Those SORs are just through the roof, though, you know. So, and, you know, has some experience going 2 churns, but not a ton. You know, some high win percents. You know, see, I look a little bit of burn money there. I mean, we're racing at similar levels.
I don't love this horse at all.
I think, yeah. So then the win percent's only 26%. So then you see the second pick, Tuscan Sky, Scotty, and that's where I ended up landing. I know there's a morning line angle kind of against, but that's okay. I mean, 1 of 72 first out. You know, it's got good GSR. It's Fletcher. It's Johnny V. I saw it was interesting to see Fletcher. Maybe he's using John. When I came into racing, I felt like Fletcher used Johnny V all the time, and then they have falling out or something maybe. But he doesn't seem to use him as often, maybe as he used to. But I thought it was a good one here.
Yeah.
So I ended up landing on the one, you know, inside at Gulfstream is just fine on the dirt like that with speed, right? So
very tough race. Even the 7-horse, the EquinEdge long shot is 15% win, right? And look at the GSR, and was fractious in the gate here, had trouble here, ran a decent race from the 11 hole here, second here against the 70 group. Like this is a well-bred horse who's had legitimate excuses over the last 3 races, and this horse will probably end up going off at 10-1. The 6-horse, I mean, look at this horse, really hadn't been doing anything, and all of a sudden gets an optional claiming allowance race and gets up and wins the race. Mixed feelings about this one. It could do okay. This is a tough race, very tough race.
Yeah. No, for grade 3, there's some nicely bred horses. I ended up cutting. I thought the 4 was just kind of up against it, but it is Safi and Dylan Davis. So I was like,
but you know, even Safi, you take over for Chad Brown. That's not an easy thing to do. I guess Dylan Davis, now we can expect Dylan to be riding over at Gulfstream Park, huh?
Yes. Yeah. I heard he's down there and he's there for the meet. So that's cool to see.
It is. Yeah. It's actually really neat. I think the 2 can win. The 1 can win. The 3 can win. You know, and this one's going to probably have to step up to win. I'm sure they had high expectations. And the reason I say that is because the GSR is so high. And maybe that's why this horse went to Safi. But you know, usually if you're not winning, if Chad Brown can't figure out how to get a horse to win at a higher level, then there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this horse only beat 4 other horses against a 58 group last time out. Let's see if the workouts, I mean, 9 of 42 wasn't bad. I don't know. I would probably take more of a negative opinion on the 4-horse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's kind of how I just, the one look, I mean, the win percents are kind of open, but the one actually looked to be kind of classy. I mean, I know it doesn't win the race sim, but it's right there. You know, the 6 is closing, you know, on the race sim, but I don't think I see it. You have Irad on the 3, but I don't know. It just, Tuscan Sky looked to, I mean, the race 2 back, I feel like you just Tusk in the Haskell, Scotty, and, you know, lightly raced. And so he still has some, in my opinion, some upside. So
that's a good point, actually. You're right. I mean, I don't think this horse's story is necessarily told just yet. And that's actually a really good point. and you can throw out the Haskell. I mean, that's one of the toughest races of the year. You can throw that out, and then I can see off of that Monmouth win in the Pegasus. I mean, albeit a non-graded stakes race, that was a really nice effort. And then in the wood, so the only 4 performances have been up against really strong groups, which this is really not.
Yeah,
the two's the horse to beat. There's
Yes.
no. I mean, look at lost by 5 lengths in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. The 2 is the horse to beat. Third race off the layoff. But I think I read a staff on Twitter. Somebody pointed out that not one horse that was in the Breeders' Cup has come back to win. Not just that won in the Breeders' Cup, that was in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I know Oldie kind of had that stat too, is some stat related to that, but they don't come out well, which is that's for whatever reason, the shipping of it, just the craziness of race day and everything going on, and then they run these big races because they're so competitive, right? It just really takes a lot out of them, I'm sure.
Dan, the only thing I would tell you about the 7 horse, the more I was looking at it, like you just don't like seeing this. Look, favorite, burn money, big win percentages and burning money. Here, this really wasn't all the strongest group. You had a good win percentage, burn money. I think this horse is the type of horse that has some talent, but it keeps causing its own issues. I would just be careful. I mean, it's 9-1, and it might be worth the risk if you're playing in a tournament or whatever, but I would be a little bit worried about that horse. Tuscan Sky. Honestly, for me, I would agree with you. I would probably have to go with the 1 horse, only because throw out those graded races, and this horse has really done nothing wrong. So I kind of like the 1 a little bit. And I'm looking to see if there's anybody else we should be looking at. You know, this is a tough one for me. Horses like this Steel Sunshine, the 6 horse, Justin, look, and looking, I mean, they obviously, Damona is a good judge of horses. Grade 3, grade 3, grade 2, grade 3, grade 2, grade 1. Look, I mean, won this grade 2 in the 1-turn mile. There was only 4 other horses, but it did win. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, and it did what it was supposed to do off the layoff. I guess my point would be maybe this horse has turned things around. It always had the potential, and maybe we could be looking at a different horse here. Or maybe, like in the last couple of races, it's gone 8 furlongs in the 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. It won because it likes that configuration. And, I don't know. But I would say at a price, the 6 horse is interesting.
No, I would agree with you there. But I mean, maybe an exacta for me, or try. Maybe it's a 1-2-6 cold.
Yeah. Look at the jockey trainer combination with Tyler Gaffalione and Brian Lynch, 38%. That's pretty darn good. Look at Reyes and DeBona. Reyes only a 10% jockey, but when they combine, they're 25% together. That's a great number. Right? And anyways, but all right, you're on the 1. Dave has a 1-2 ice cold. Yeah, exactly, Dave. All right. We've got race number 10, grade 2, Fort Lauderdale Stakes. And this is for 3-year-olds and upward. Let's go. Another wide open race on the win percentages, Justin.
I know, yeah.
Crazy.
The 3 it's the Dylan riding the 5, the favorite for Cassie, and then Husband's riding that 3 horse that's probably gonna try to wire the field on the front end, Saratoga Flash. Safi has Husband's riding. Micah Husband.
Yeah, I mean, the horse is losing ground as of the second call, so I don't know. A lot of times, too, when you have a tough race, I love to look at the EE morning line. That's kind of a tell, so I'll start there, and I'll start handicapping, and I'll start trying to throw out races. Here you have a horse that raced in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile again, like Dave said, cranked up. Prior to that, it won over at Turfway Park, barely winning a Grade 2 race. And then, it's been, unfortunately a little bit inconsistent. Look what it's done. Good race, bad race, good race, bad race, good race, bad race. Maybe the 2's ready for a good race.
Second pick.
That's an angle.
Yeah. No, it is.
Major Dude. Throw out the 4-star Dave. I'm fine with that. Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, 6 wins. I mean, what I like to see in horses like this that have layoffs, show me a horse that at least likes to win. And we know that this horse has some issues, hence the 2 layoff lines in the last couple of races. But you can see here in the optional claiming, did his job, won easily. And then here in the Grade 1, wasn't ready for that competition. But I do like that this horse was 3.5 lengths back at the stretch before giving up late and not hurting the horse. Then comes back and wins this allowance race. I think it's got a lot to prove to win a Grade 2 race. Especially with these layoff lines, like you kind of need to build some momentum. This is a Grade 2 race. Show me a horse like the 2 horse that's won a Grade 2. What about Mark Cassie's Win for the Money? Did you look at this one?
Yeah, I mean, the SOR is impressive 2 backs, Scotty. I mean, it's the top pick, so it didn't really surprise me. The win percent goes up a little bit, but the win's so wide open. It kind of came off the pace, but I think I was looking at the race sim for the 5. I mean, it's going to not be too far back, which I think is a good thing, sprinting like this, Scotty, on with the rail at 66 feet. So the SORs I would expect that might show a little more speed, but it is coming from the Breeders' Cup. And so you gave me that stat, and that's the biggest worry coming out of the mile, didn't run. Yeah. So, it wasn't for me on top. But I do think the 5 has a shot. I'll lead you to, so there's work notes on Siege of Boston, the 7 horse, who's the long shot. So this horse been working over on the turf and has 3 good works on the turf course. He only has 3 wins, but I thought this was a really wide open stakes race, Scotty. And I think I didn't necessarily like the speed up front. So I thought this horse might be able to get like a good stocking trip. I mean, it's been close. It's not been close. But
it always has a good stocking trip. I mean, always. Yeah, it never gets there. And I mean, ever gets there, ever. It's 3 wins in 20 races. I mean, this is just not the prototypical type of horse that you're looking to win a Grade 2 race. I mean, now that being said, this race does kind of look like a grab bag, but I mean, flip a coin, honestly. But the 7, if I had to bet my life on a horse, I want to bet on my life. It wouldn't be the 7, I can tell you that for sure.
Hey, I'm with you, but I was going price shopping here and just using the long shot and the works. I mean, I think this horse is probably fit. I mean, this is just kind of I really did think it was a crazy race. I mean, I could only put the 3 on top on the front end, but I think that horse is probably going to stop. So I just thought, I mean, they're sprinting like that with the rail out. So I don't think you want to be too far back. It's kind of why, some of these horses I didn't take a big look at, some of the horses that were coming from like Cash Equity. I mean, I don't know, that horse has never really shown any speed.
Yeah. Well, if you look at this horse, though, I will say this. The race simulator has the horse finishing, and I believe it doesn't have to be too far back. Let's see. So not too bad. 4 lengths at the first call. It's kind of interesting because if you look at this horse, it had Mike Smith aboard. It's not that Mike can't ride, but on the turf, I just say like 7 path here. There's only 8 horses in the race. Had the 9 hole here, not really a great place to be. Was wide. Here had the 7 path with Le Peru aboard and got second. Look, it was only 5% to win in this race, and it went off at 3-1. Here it outran its odds at 31-1 against an 80 group. This is a much easier group gets Zayas, Safi Joseph, in a race like this that we're looking at, and you see the race simulator showing you this. It's an interesting horse. It's definitely a horse that I think you have to keep your eye on.
This race is brutal, man. It's why I just kind of went price shopping, because I mean, many of these haven't been winning. I mean, when you look from an SOR perspective, you obviously have the 2 and 5, Scotty. You know, so many are coming out of graded stakes. They haven't been winning. They all have kind of that same, situation. But the 4 with Irad at least been winning consistently, right, and winning recently. So and you get Irad in a 5-2 E morning line. So I don't know. I have a little, now I'm looking at that. I have, I do like the 4 some as well. But that's, he did win a grade 2 back at Penn, but that was a long time ago.
So the more I'm looking at the 4 horse, 5-2 EE morning line, the more I'm looking at it, this is a horse that's run 17 times and won $960,000. Now, the reason why this horse is starting to grow on me is because of these layoff lines. Like, maybe with some of these issues is what's been causing, this horse to maybe not win some of the bigger races. But these are pretty strong allowance races. And this race is similar to that, this grade 2. First of all, this grade 2 came up very weak. So I think I'm going to take the 4. I think the 1 will be closing. If it can get a good trip, it'll be in the money. But I think I'm going to take the 4.
Yeah, no, it's definitely in the mix for sure. 100%. And I think 17 tries to hit the board in 11 of 17. So, and you get Irad, Fletcher. I mean, they've been pointed towards Keeneland and Saratoga in some of the toughest races. So, they do. It feels like it may be a little bit easier here in a grade 2.
So I'm going to take 4, 5, 1, and I'll tell you why I like the 5 a little bit as well. The more I'm looking at this, first of all, the races over at Woodbine, they're easier. So this horse did win a grade 1 though, but that's up in Canada, and then here in the Breeders' Cup, throw that out, and then right here over at Ellis Park ran a good race. The 5 horse fits in this contest, what I'm saying. Like you can see, but Churchill Downs in the grade 2 lost. You see what I'm saying? So the races over at Woodbine are a lot easier. I think the 5 is a player, but people might give this horse a little bit too much credit. And you can see that GSR is higher, but they're always higher at Woodbine for some reason. It's been like that for years, I've noticed. So yeah. So I give less credit. I don't know that the system yet, and I know me and Ryan talked about it. We will train it to do that, but I'm not sure it looks at Gulfstream Park and gives it less credit for those races because, first of all, you and I both know the purses over at Woodbine are much, much higher, relatively speaking, to here in the States. So you just have to watch out for that. That's all.
Then Dan said the 7 one time are going to be scratched. That's kind of a bummer because we were against that horse, but that's okay. That's what happens sometimes.
So I'm definitely going to play against the 5 on the win. I really do think, you're talking about Irad and Fletcher. It seems to me that they probably got this horse doing pretty good right now, and we're probably going to see this horse's best. And first of all, look,
I'm actually agreeing with you now because I also like Scotty last year. Major dude, Irad rode all those grade 2s and grade 3s, right? The Penn Mile, he won in a grade 2, won by nearly a length, and was no joke in the Manila. And then in the American Turf, a 13 horse field ran 3rd at Churchill, right on the rail, and that was in a 74. So I think I think this horse is pointed and ready for Spendthrift, right? There are the layoff lines, but after the big layoff line of Kentucky Downs, they're minor layoff lines, I guess. I think they're just being cautious, maybe as connections, right? So
Dave was saying that this 5 horse has only had 5 races in 2024, sits the trip and gets first run. Let's see if that's the case here. Sits, and then boom, right there at the stretch is getting a good run. I'm not going to be surprised Grand Sonata is going to get the run. The 4-horse Major Dude's going to be right there. I tell you what, too, the one thing that you cannot beat is Irad Ortiz on the turf course over at Gulfstream Park. He knows that turf course better than any jockey. It might take Dylan Davis on the 5 a little bit of time to be able to acclimate towards that, and he might go 5 years, 10 years, and he still won't be as good as this guy right here, Irad Ortiz, on this turf course here at Gulfstream Park. Like, he's having to maneuver at Saratoga and Keeneland here, and then Belmont. Like, he knows these, but not like he knows Gulfstream Park. He knows this turf course. I think this horse is going to fire. This horse fits here. It's earned $1 million in 17 races, whereas the 5-horse won this Woodbine Mile against 7 other horses, and it's earned less money in 17 races, $810,000. So class-wise, the 4 has earned more money than the 5 and didn't win $1 million race.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And again, those layoff lines aren't awful. It's just being probably a little more conservative than we're used to seeing. So
yeah. All right, let's cover the race number 11, the Grade 3. Man, Gulfstream's got some really nice races here on Saturday.
Yes, lots of turf too. They're going 8 now, so they were going, and it looks like on this one they look to be on the inside of the turf course, so they must be splitting the turf course on Saturday because the rail's not out on this race.
Yeah, they probably are. The turf race is there at Gulfstream. You have to watch the rail, but you really want to watch Irad on the turf course because he knows it well. Always on big days. Doesn't always seem like Irad wins 4 or 5 races on every big, when Gulfstream has a big day. Yeah. This is the meet that Irad shoots for every time is this championship meet. He wins it every time. It's never close.
Well, and it's Jose left, right? We covered him earlier.
Yeah.
Went over to Fairgrounds. He's like, later, bro, I'm going to ride somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I love. I actually love that happened. That's awesome.
Well, Papilio actually wins the race. It's the EquinEdge second, or the 1-horse Ocean Club does. They're actually the top 2 picks. Look at my God. Like, you'd have a better chance, instead of trying to handicap, you have a better chance of just playing Irad all day than trying to figure out. I swear. I mean, the win percentages are so equal in every single race. Hold on. Where's Irad? This man. I haven't had anything to drink either. Let me see. Irad's on the 12. Look at on a 1% horse in the 12 hole. Something that's interesting. Let's see here. All right, let's look at the EE morning line. There's different ways of skinning a cat here. Saffron Moon, a horse to watch. Let's take a closer look here. 1 against 9
Brown.
Horses. Huh?
That's the Chad with Tyler.
Yep, Chad with Tyler. The workouts are very consistent. Hasn't missed a beat. Last couple of races, though, it's been big win percentages and lost, but it's been off of a layoff, two layoff lines. So what are your thoughts here?
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't put on top. I do think it's probably a player. It's going to kind of try to stalk and sit the trip. But it's similar to the 4, maybe some layoff lines, but I don't see positive things here. I just see, well, you won 62s and then you have a year layoff and you're in a 68 and a 70 and you didn't win and you did burn money, right? Now you're having to step it up into a Grade 3. It wasn't for me. I mean, this horse is going to take money for sure. Scotty probably be 3-1, but wasn't. I looked elsewhere to go on top.
Here's another way of looking at the championship meet at Gulfstream Park. You have most of the top jockeys that come over here to Florida to ride. The weather's amazing during this time of year, and it's very hard to get some of the top jockeys. And the top jockeys Irad Ortiz, Johnny Velasquez, Zayas, Castellano, Tyler Gaffalione. Those guys are going to probably win 80% of the races in this championship meet, especially the bigger races. So they're on the best horses. So when all else fails, Irad, Velasquez, Zayas, Castellano, and Gaffalione. I mean, every trainer is trying to get those jockeys on their horses in this meet. And so you can just handicap from there. Now, Gonzalez is on the one horse, who's the top EquinEdge pick for Sisterson. And
he can be dangerous, though, on the front end, I feel like. I mean, he won the lead last out in a grade 3. I mean, there's no bad efforts back on those races over the summer, Scotty, at Gulfstream.
Once on the look at the horse got the lead and barely won and barely hung on against. There's some players
similar.
Yeah, there's some players in here though, and the horse had an easy lead. Let's see if it's going to get that easy lead, and that's going to be a factor. Let's sort the pace number.
I think the 7.
Look at that. The 5 is way faster than the 1. So the 5, isn't it amazing how a 50-to-1 shot can completely throw off the race? And it can.
Yeah.
And the 1's going to be on the rail with the 5 horse sending, and the 7 horse is fast and really picks it up. And the 7 horse has that same style. Zayas is aboard. It's the EquinEdge long shot. That 7's flying. There figures to be some serious pace in the race. And who's coming with some blue arrows?
It's the 4 and the 11.
4, 6, and 11. I'm gonna just like temporarily put those horses down.
It to me was between the 4 and 11. You had the 11 with Clement, and then the 4 is just an absolute kind of price. But I mean, when you look at the 11, Scotty,
Castellanos aboard the 4.
Yeah, and then Dylan riding the 11
on the 11.
So you can include him with that group now, probably, right? So, but those were not bad efforts last out, right? And, finished 3rd and 2nd and just missed. And I think with the speed up front, it's going to set up is what the race sim's saying, right? So to me, I do think the race sim had it right that the speed from a pace perspective with that cheap speed in the 5 it could set it up. And they're on the inside part of the turf course. So probably won't quite be as narrow turns. And,
the other ones that are closing don't have arrows are the 8 and the 10. So we talked about the 10 horse, and as this horse is for Chad Brown, and or excuse me, not the 10.
The 8 Saffron Moon.
Tyler Gaffalione, Chad Brown. Now this horse has burned money in the last couple of races, but it's had layoff lines. Look at Prior. Prior to that, the horse is just crushing horses. 4.5 lengths here. Now they were albeit easier fields, but maybe with the speed, the race sets up perfectly for a horse like Saffron Moon. All right. That's the Suwannee River Stakes, grade 3 race. All right, we have one more race to do over at Oaklawn Park.
Who you put on top? I'm
going to say the 8. I'm going with the 8. You?
The 11 or the 4. I'm going to land only on the 4, so I'll land on the 11.
All right, so we've got Oaklawn Park. We've got one more stakes
the
race.
final one.
Okay. And let's see here. Oaklawn 2.
It was nice. It was limited tracks. There is some big quarter horse. But I didn't spend any time, but I noticed that when I was looking. Race 9.
Race 9 over at Oaklawn?
Yeah. So
I'm having let's see if I can get this to pop up. 7. Look, we got through almost all the races without any internet issues. Well, I've had a little bit. I've had to go back and forth between platforms. Hold on one second. Bear with me. Let's see if I can get. I might have an ace up my sleeve. What do you know? Okay. Oaklawn race number 9. And who does Oldie like in here?
Yeah, he likes the 9 for his top pick.
Good night, Mike. Thanks a lot for joining in the chat. You were great as usual.
Look at that morning line angle.
On who? The 9?
The 9.
Look at 43% on the set. Now, these numbers can change, by the way. The closer you get to the races, they change. They can change.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Oh, absolutely, Dan. That in New York. Don't even get me going. But yeah, the win percentages, picks, they can change. The algorithms get more accurate the closer the race goes. And so you can see some changes. Just remember that, you guys. So that's the game. That's the game of the algorithms. Now, I had a choice to lock them. I could have locked them the minute they come out and not update. But we found that it's more accurate when we don't do that. So Spirit Wind, who did Oldie like?
The 9. Makeup. He had Spirit Wind second.
So
He's price shopping. Look at the EE morning line on Makeup. 5-1.
Five and a half furlong. I mean, the one thing we have to make sure we account for is speed, right? So you're talking about 5.5 furlongs. Speed horses usually win these races. So we go to the first call, and
3, 4, 5 probably all can go.
5.
Probably
You got the 3s fast, the 11, the 10, and 3 backs up. It looks like backs up fast, but there's some serious speed in here. Spirit Wind. I don't like that this horse Burned Money is the big favorite last time out at all. But it checked. It did have issues. It's most likely going to break good, but it also lost over at Keeneland at 34%, getting second against 5 other horses, and it just pressed too wide. It didn't look like it had any issues, but that also was an 82 field. Justin, we've talked about this horse before, and what a nice horse this is for Safi, and he's done an amazing job. And this horse is at Gulfstream Park, and he knows how to get a horse ready for Gulfstream Park. But this isn't a first-time starter. And look at the GSR; it's 59 on this horse.
Right.
Isn't this a horse we're trying to beat?
Yeah, no, I was, and now in this, he's using Fernando Jara. Like, I'm not sure why is Fernando Jara riding for Safi here? Fernando Jara, I don't even really know this guy. I mean, he had a 31% with Safi, I guess. So, but I was for sure. That obviously Oli is too, right? I mean, thinks that, not for Oldie on the 7 either, but I thought was vulnerable favorite for sure.
Fibber, look, you never like to see this, and I recognize that this horse has been facing some tough competition, but it had an outside post, so it's sitting a perfect trip and then loses ground. Lost ground here. That was an 80 group, though. Here, lost ground. It did win this race, a non-graded stakes race. I mean, it had a couple of races here where it's really good. The form seems to have gone off a little bit for the one horse. So we're looking at what could be just an absolute grab bag.
Yeah, I look at the works on Fiber. I mean, definitely looks as bullet works. I mean, this horse is working lights out.
Yeah, but horses like this, Justin, working fast like this is nothing for horses like that are in this race, right? They all can work fast. They all can do that. Like, you see that for a first-time starter, then come talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But Makeup is an interesting horse for Steve Asmussen. Eric Asmussen's aboard. Because maybe it's the up-and-coming horse, lightly raced, only 7 races, 5 in the money. And it's really not run a bad race, except in this race, 6 furlongs on the turf here. And, there didn't seem to be any excuses in this race. It barely got up. I don't know.
No, I think because I kind of was looking at the 8. So Cindy, why do you actually like the 8 so much? Because I was looking at the 8. I mean, Scotty, you talked about it, that the speed can be really dangerous. This is the long shot, only 5%, but the long shot went it much better than that. But I don't know. It's the speed,
there's a
though.
good chance. I agree with Cindy, kind of. Like, first of all, the 8 needs the lead, and the 8's going to get the lead. It looks like there's an old saying that speed kills speed. So throw out the 3 horse, because I don't think it's getting the lead. And so we throw that out. But it looks like the 7 actually could clear. Not the 7, excuse me. The 8 could clear. Now, the 11 horse, this horse looks too cheap. So the 11 horse will probably stop. Right. And then the 7's on the inside of all this, just sitting back. Now, the 7's going to be tactical. And it has shown that it can rate a little bit. But this isn't exactly endorsing right here, unless the horse just like, look, it had a couple of races over at Churchill. Look at, maybe this horse just doesn't like Churchill Downs. 3 races at Churchill Downs, and the horse spit the bit late. It could just be as simple as that. Spirit Wind not liking Churchill.
One, yeah, no, could be.
Right. And then here at Keeneland, that was an 82 group. The race before that was a 78 group going 7 furlongs. It was right there. So maybe seven furlongs isn't great. Again, this horse has done really well and will probably get overbet again. As the favorite the last couple of times, it's gotten beat, and it's only got a 59 GSR. Now, I will say this. At 5 furlongs and 5.5 furlongs, the GSR to me becomes less, not unimportant, but less important, because it's just, there's a lot of speed. And so maybe at 5.5 furlongs, this horse could do well. The opposite stance of that is it's never gone 5.5 furlongs before, where a lot of these have, and that's an advantage for horses that actually have experience going 5.5. And the other thing about the 8 horse there is that the 8 horse can go gate to wire, and being at 5.5 furlongs, that finish line comes up a lot shorter, where maybe this horse could do pretty good. So I'm kind of, the 8 horse is kind of grown on me.
It's a tough one. I agree, but I think I'm going to go away just because the speed, and want somebody to. I think the 1. I'm going to land on the 1, the second pick. I like the drop in SOR. I do think the 7's beatable, but I think the 1's getting back just to easier, and this is a great spot, and it's a nice stakes race, and 1 easy in a 78 at Ellis. But
I'm not a big Bejarano fan out of the gate, personally. And he draws the rail. Bejarano had the rail here in the race, broke 8. Right?
I see that. Yeah, and the Ravens run rushed, was inside, and was game. Yeah, that's a shame, because he's gonna have
it doesn't mean he's gonna break bad. I'm just saying we're hedging our bet. But all right, listen, we've gone way longer. We didn't even, I don't know, we somehow carried, what did we go, an hour and a half, 2 hours?
2. Yeah, a little bit longer, but that's okay.
That long. Yeah, no, it was all good. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to play the 8 as well, Cindy. I agree. And Cindy, it was really good to see you today on this here, and hope you're doing well. And everybody, thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. If we don't see you, we're doing a show tomorrow, the Road to the NHC, with NHC champ 2022, David Harrison. Hopefully you can join us on the Road to the NHC. It's really a lot of fun. And if you've got nothing else going on, tune us in, and we'll be talking about a lot of the races tomorrow. And then, but if we don't see you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If we don't see you even after that, and all the blessings in the world, health, and to your family and yourself. And Justin, the time for sentiments. I was saying this on the coaching class today, but appreciate you. And Chris, you can come on in, Chris and Oldie and David, and just the entire team, of course. And I want to give a shout out to Brad and to Ryan and to Riley and Amy and Anna, and there's so many people. I don't want to miss anybody. Kathy and Malcolm and and Ramey, if I'm missing anybody, but
Scotty, it's crazy because you can think if you've missed anybody, but it's really grown a lot, man.
It has.
It's pretty incredible to see all the people that work together to put things together, right? Of everybody. It was, and you can see it if it comes through in text or email and just how everything's happening. So it is really cool, and it's awesome to be able to do these shows. And then, if these end up being a little bit more of combined picks with everything, but then now we have these shorts that are releasing with tracks, right? And I think that's the cool thing. You know what I mean? It's taking it to another level. So
well, and you and I both know what's coming in 2025. So and that just excites me for our community, because we have such an amazing community, right? And so I don't know. It pumps me up. I'm super excited about some of the new releases coming up, all the back end stuff that we're doing for the infrastructure to stabilize the site. Like, we had 0 problems on Breeders' Cup. 0. Did you see that? 0. Let me tell you something. Breeders' Cup is no fun for me anymore. Kentucky Derby is no fun for me. NHC is no fun. Okay, all these big weekends are scary when you're dealing with any kind of software where a bunch of people are going to be on your side. Let me tell you. But
NHC is coming. It's like 4 months away.
I know. I'm super pumped about that. And so you doing anything special for Christmas?
Staying home with the kids and Steph. She's here right now. It'll be really mellow. It's good. I always enjoy having kind of a chill Christmas. So
yeah. Well, all right. Well, Chris, how about you? Any final words?
We will be with you tomorrow night with the coaching class. I dropped that in the chat. Go ahead and join there. We'll talk betting and all that kind of good stuff. We'll be with you at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. This restaurant show with Oldie, Justin, and I, going over that fun stuff. And have a Merry Christmas, everybody. And
you too, Chris.
Don't spend time with your family and enjoy the holiday, and we will be with you in the new year. Appreciate you all for joining. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. And the notes, all the new stuff has been just totally rocking. So keep pounding.
All right. Good night, everybody.